And what's good, Eagles Nation? It's your boy Mucci Robinson with my comrades, Pablo, Gary, and Danny. What's good, guys? What's up with y'all?
What's up, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Listen, we talking about tomorrow night, Thursday night football. Philadelphia Eagles versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is the first question. Now we're 2-3. Will we be 3-3 by tomorrow night? I'll start with you, Pablo.
I mean, we most certainly got a chance to go 3-3. I don't think you could just look at this Eagles roster and say that we don't have a fighting chance, especially when you look at, how we played against, the Kansas City Chiefs. So we have a chance, but I think ultimately when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster, their quarterback, their head coach, um, you know, it's in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. He's played in over 306 games in his career. Jalen Hurts only has 8 career starts, okay? Bruce Arians has, about 15 years of experience. Nick Sirianni only has 5 games under his belt. So, we got a chance, but, I don't think the odds are really in our favor. But I think it's a game where we're going to have to focus on key matchups and sort of attack certain players defensively. And it's going to be, important for this offense to get off to a hot start. But, I know we're going to get into that later on in the show. But most certainly, I think we got an opportunity to go out and get a win.
What about you, Danny?
Uh, I would say that we got a chance. I mean, everyone has a chance to win every week. Everyone doesn't go undefeated, so everyone has a shot to win. I definitely think we could win this game. It's just gonna come down to almost a perfect game on both sides of the ball.
All right. Well, I guess that leads up to me. Now, we talking about Tom Brady on a different team. We talking about a team that won the Super Bowl last year that's on the road to the Super Bowl this year. We talking about Antonio Brown. We talking about what's the other wide receiver
Mike
number?
Williams, Chris Godwin.
Thankful that Rob Gronkowski is not going to be in there. He's ruled out. So we talking about flyers. We talking about Tom Brady's going to lift that ball like he's going to automatically do like 3 plus yards, 300 plus yards this game. Same thing with Hurts, but it's just will it be sloppy or will it be on and off? So it's like it can be up and down, especially their defense. I believe Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense, they already gonna know the ropes. They already gonna know what's going on. They already know like I'm pretty sure they already practice and they're going through their schemes because they already know that we're not running the ball. They know that the ball is going to go up in the air, so they're going to play man tight coverage. They now this is the time when they're going to really play 4-3, 3-4, and stop us like with no problem. So it's hard for me to decide right about now. I mean, it's just hopefully we. I mean, I don't even know. Like we going to make a touchdown. It's just I don't know if it's going to run slow or run fast or I don't know how these scheme is going to be because we need to run the ball. Like that's what I want to do. I want Nick Sirianni first play for Sanders to get the ball or Gainwell, but I believe Sanders need to get like at least 200 yards off this game because that's what they're going to do with Fournette. I promise you.
Ah, 200. I don't know, man. You got to think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
No, no,
interior
no. I
defensive
mean,
line.
let me. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. I mean, he needs to run the ball 30 times to get 100 plus yards. I mean, instead of keep throwing this ball every time with these RPOs. Or if make sure that you read the reads right, your cover ones, cover twos, and look for Watkins before you look for Devontae Smith. That's how I say it.
It's tough. You know, I know the narrative around Philadelphia right now, especially in their running backs room, is, to run the football, run the football, run the football. But, I think like Danny said, man, it's week to week. You got to match up week to week. And when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers interior defensive line, you see Vita Vea, you see Ndamukong, Sue, and I just think you're gonna be hard pressing to really try to go up against that interior defensive line the entire game. I actually think the Eagles, we should sort of go pass heavy this week, only because when you look at their secondary in particular, yeah, they got the young kid Winfield, and he sort of flies around and make plays. They sort of use him like we use Malcolm Jenkins in our defense. But if I'm Nick Sirianni, I'm looking at that secondary like, okay, they just signed Sherman off the streets. Okay, he has dead legs. Okay, so what I'm gonna do if I'm gonna sit there and really we talk about key matchups and how to get scheme guys open. If I'm the head coach, what I'm gonna do is say, okay, they got an aging Richard Sherman. Okay, he's not in his prime. What I'm gonna do is throw my young wide receivers at him. I'm gonna give him a little bit of Devontae Smith that's going to be able to route him up, get him backpedaling. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow him to have a piece of Quez Watkins's mind. All right, so then we're gonna throw speed at him. And then I'm gonna follow it up with Jalen Rager. I think I want to start seeing Nick Sirianni really take advantage of these cornerbacks, man, and allowing our young wide receivers to really attack these guys and really become intentional with how we play. So I see a huge opportunity for the Philadelphia Eagles to air it out this week. If the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game, we got to start with Jonathan Gannon. Now I know, Darius Slay showed up for us. Steven Nelson showed up for us. Javon Hargrave is playing lights out. Fletcher Cox finally got on the board as far as with a sack. But that's last week covered up a whole lot. Jonathan Gannon has a lot to prove this week. He's going to have his hands full. And I just think before we start to say, hey, before we start to sort of put it on Jalen Hurts' shoulders, because we got to remember, Jalen Hurts won us the football game. Like, there was no promise that he was going to get in that end zone. Okay, so let's just call that what it is. Like, it's tough to do that at that point in the game. So for me, if I'm Jonathan Gannon, it's going to be tough, man, because now what you're doing is not a chess match between Jonathan Gannon and the Eagles defense. It's Tom Brady mentally against Marcus Epps. He's a journeyman. It's Tom Brady mentally against Rodney McLeod, who's just coming off a torn ACL. It's Tom Brady knowing that he has Antonio Brown in the slot versus Avonte Maddox. I love the Philadelphia Eagles and how they match up. It's Darius Slay on Mike Williams and Steven Nelson's on Chris Godwin's, because those guys they're not blazers, but they're physical. So it's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging. So like Mucci said, man, we got to bring our A game. If you hurt yourself against Tom Brady, he's going to make you pay for it.
What you think,
Uh,
Dan?
Definitely. One thing I will say is Tampa Bay is allowing around 45 yards rushing per game, and they're allowing over 300 yards passing allowed a game, which is like leading the league is like the worst. And then they're the best in rushing defense. So as Pablo said earlier, we're definitely I think this game's gonna have to go pass heavy, kind of like we were in the Chiefs game. But you're gonna need like an offense from the Chiefs game and like a defense from like the Atlanta and the Carolina game. That's why I said you need a perfect game on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, what about our defense? Like, what about Fletcher Cox? What about Hargrave? What about Sweat? You think we going to easily get to the quarterback? You think we can get to Tom Brady? You think we can get to like how many sacks we had last week? Like maybe 3? No, you don't think so? If we could try to play a scheme, because again, like you said with Jonathan Gannon, he's going to only use the same defensive scheme with the zone, and that's another thing. He's definitely going. If we talking about Tom Brady, we're going to get slumped and we're going to get killed if we play zone. I promise you. And let me tell you the reason why. We're talking about Tom Brady step back and he's looking for Antonio Brown. He's going to find him in open space. We got 2 linebackers. With with Taylor, because he's just coming back and he had a calf injury, so I don't know how he's going to be how he's gonna function. Then we
He's
only
playing
have the
good
front
football,
line.
by the way. He is playing really good right now. Davion Taylor.
Yes, yes,
He
exactly.
needs to
But
start,
again,
man.
we only got two linebackers, and then we're gonna have to definitely we're gonna have to believe in um Darius Slay, and we're gonna have to believe in Nelson because they're going to have a lot of work to cut out. They got a lot of work. 'Cause we're talking about Tom Brady. We're talking about again, he can do 300 to 400 plus yards in this game if we don't pay attention. But I
Easy.
just don't like the fact that once again we're going to be playing zone. So I mean, how do y'all feel? Like I just so you think Hargrove is not going to get a sack in this game,
Uh,
even if they put double pressure on Cox?
Uh, first shout out to Richie MC, man. Yeah, I hope so, man. You know, I'm doing the thing with the guys, man. So we doing something a little different this season, but we'll see, man. We're always gonna be energetic for sure. But it's tough. Like Daniel was saying, you gotta understand, man. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got one of the best offensive lines in the game. You talk about Ali Marpet. You talk about one of the best right tackles in the game, Tristan Wirfs. Um, it's going to be tough. And one of my key sort of matchups to sort of watch out for is, Josh Sweat, okay, against Tristan Swartz, because, I mean, Wirfs. He is, to me, he's the best young up and coming and best rising right tackle in the game. Honestly, I would put him right behind Lane Johnson, and I'm just being biased if I'm being real. I think he's the best right tackle in the game. Um, you know, I think his rating in Madden is like 92 or something. Like the kid is
It's real
Yeah,
crazy.
high.
Yeah, it's really high. So, and he's only like 21, 22 years old. I mean, the kid is
Hmm.
a stud. So, that's a matchup for me. I'm watching out for that. I want to see, okay, the Philadelphia Eagles, we just paid Josh Sweat. I'm interested. I'm very, very interested to see if the money that we paid Josh Sweat was worth it. Because if he can have some penetration, if he could get some pressure while going against, Tristan Wirfs, I think the Eagles are going to, it's not going to, just tell us what we need to see now, but, moving forward. But again, man, they have a great offensive line. And I don't think it's so much of how they're going to scheme up against our defensive line. I think it's Tom Brady, man. He's going to get the ball out of his hands. Tom Brady doesn't just drop back, sit there, and just look around. He doesn't have lunch, he's out there trying to make a play. And, it's going to be tough. And so this game is going to, for me, I think this game is going to fall on our cornerbacks. Can Steven Nelson, really control Chris Godwin? Can Darius Slay handle Mike Williams, especially on slant routes? I think the Eagles, the big matchup that I'm looking for is, can Avonte Maddox do something with Antonio Brown? Just something. If he can sort of contain Antonio Brown, I think the Eagles are going to have the shot. But if Tom Brady is sitting back there and he's firing into Mike Williams and he's sitting back there having lunch, and then once he has lunch, then he allows Fournette to eat. Eagles can't win that way. We can't win trying to stop the run and the pass. We got to pick one. You know what I mean? That's why we won last week, because we stopped the pass. So for me, it's going to be a great one. But once we start talking about the offense, for some reason I think Jalen Hurts just might put on the show.
all right, what you? Oh, before we get into it, shout out to Miss Bird Gang 31, and shout out to Bird Gang 31. What's good with y'all?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sloop.
Shout out to Richie MC. Shout out to Reese 223. This game hurts need to show out. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danny.
No,
See
no,
what you
you
guys
good.
say.
One thing I do got is the Eagles have lined up in zone coverage on about 83% of their defensive snaps, which is the highest in the NFL. And Tom Brady has completed about 75% of his passes against zone and has a passer rating of 101.2.
Hmm. That math
That's what
don't
I'm
add up.
saying.
But
But that is
one thing I will say is out of our two of three picks last week, it looked like they were in man coverage. The one where Slay jumped in front of DJ Moore and Steven Nelson jumped in front of Robbie Anderson, it looked like they were in man coverage and they just jumped the route.
All right, so I guess they switched it up a little bit, but they just need to keep being consistent. My only thing is, we already know when the Eagles come out and they start doing their thing, we be up. We have the momentum. We keep the energy up, and then all of a sudden, like we from the 10-yard line on the Bucks side, then we come down to 50, then we come down to 40, 30, 20. It feels like once we get to the 10-yard line, we stuck. It feels like
But
why is it so hard to get a touchdown? I mean, that's in any game, but it just felt like it hasn't been organic for us just to hurry up and get that quick niche, meaning we could be at the 10-yard line and then Hertz can find Watkins for a nice 50 ball. He catch it, falls to the ground. He can't, get the extra yards just to make that touchdown. Then once he get up, of course, he showboats, and you didn't even get a touchdown yet. Like that's the only thing I can't stand. All right, I got you. You caught the ball. Hurry up and get into the huddle. Say the play. When you make that touchdown, then you do your thing, and then you go back over to the sideline and wait till it's your turn again, or show off once you finish winning the game. Why is it that we're not consistent in the first line drives? Like we all hype, excited, and everything, and all of a sudden now, once we get to the end zone or to the red zone, how come we not putting in JJ Arcega-Whiteside so he can be that Alshon Jeffrey like how he's supposed to be? Like he got this. If me personally, if I was JJ Arcega-Whiteside, just in case, I'd be like, "Yo, coach, put me in. Stop putting me in to be blocking, because I'm just a blocking wide receiver. Like that's my only concept. And stop. I'm the only one with my mom holding the umbrella. Like that's going to be his. That's his memory. Like that's his niche right now. Like we need to switch something up. Jalen Rager, they kept showing a play where he caught the ball and he got tackled. Like it was just they kept showing it over and over again on social media how he just caught the ball and he got tapped and he went down. So it's like he got to get his mind right. It's been times where he made that nice touchdown, then but his foot was out of bounds. Like I've never seen that damn. Like you as a player need to know where you at all times on the field. So again, that's my only thing about the Eagles. It's like we just need to get our head right. Like before we come out the tunnel, or it'd be that one individual always going back and forth. Like he got the song or he got some type of beat in his head. Like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm ready. But then by the time he get out here, he's messing up. Like, why is it that we always not getting there?
I don't know, bro. I think it's I would have to go back to my point from earlier, man. Is this team is young. Nick Sirianni only has 5 games under his belt as a head coach. Jalen Hurts, only has 8 career starts. We're a young team. We're a young team, and I think like Richie MC says, man, it's a lot of bad play calling. I think offensively speaking, we're still not even offensively. I think as a team, we're finding that okay, one week defense shows up, right, and then the next week offense will show up, right. Then out of nowhere, the special teams will show up, right. We need this team to sort of play at a high level all at the same time. It's just like, what's that game with like the little heads that go up and down? You got to hit them like that. It's like
Yeah.
everybody, like you just can't have, what I mean? Everybody playing as a unit at the same time. And so I think once we start to do that, that's when we're really going to see this team take off. Offensively though, sorry, my mic is too loud. Sorry about that. Offensively though, I got to start with the head. Nick Sirianni. For me, I find it very, very hard to blame Jalen Hurts because you still got guys on. It's the same old narrative. Okay, last year, 3 players was out. Okay, on the offensive line. This year, you got Brandon Brooks out again. It's time for him to go. Lane Johnson. We don't know what's going on with him. But we don't want to be insensitive as fans. He may have a death in the family. So we're going. I love the fact that the Eagles aren't putting football before family, and they're sort of humanizing this thing and really giving him the time that he needs. So as a fan, I respect it, but it still puts us in that same boat. Then when Lane Johnson goes down, we just paid Jordan Mailata, and by the way, he gets hurt. So now Jalen Hurts is in a position where he is dealing with a shuffling offensive line, and I just think this is the irony with Nick Sirianni. He has a wide receiver background. But your wide receivers cannot run routes. And we know that they can, but I'm talking about from a schematic perspective. It's like, wait a minute. This is the third week in a row we got to the red zone and you tried to run the same exact play. You ran the same exact play and still did not coach your guys up enough to know how to run the route. As a head coach, you're wrong, and as a wide receiver, you're wrong. It's like a former wide receiver. It's like that's just something that's almost like Deuce Staley still being here and guys just fumbling all the time. Like Deuce is a former running back. He's not about to allow that to happen. If you guys want to keep fumbling the ball, get on them jugs, or we're going to do the drill where we try to, punch the ball out of there. And so for me, it's just like, again, I said this from day one. I said the Philadelphia Eagles still need a number one wide receiver. And I think when you have a number one wide receiver, a true bona fide number one wide receiver, it allows Devontae Smith to play free. It allows Jalen Reagor is still young. He's 22 years old. He's pretty young-minded, if you ask me, and that's okay because he is a young guy. But Jalen Hurts, man, he's keeping it afloat. He really is. He's really keeping it afloat. Like if Jalen Hurts had the Carson Wentz mentality, the Eagles would be sitting at 0-5 right now. So for me, I
Yeah,
think, oh, for
pretty
sure.
much.
Like if he had like the Carson Wentz syndrome, oh yeah, Carson Wentz is not bouncing back from I think Jalen threw one interception last week.
Yeah,
If I'm not okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Carson Wentz, he just couldn't do it. So for me, guys, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think when you talk about this offense, the first name you must bring up is Nick Sirianni.
Definitely. One thing I will say is you don't need to run a pick route for Devontae Smith. That man can get open on any route you need him to get, even at the
That's a
goal
fact.
line. But I'd have to say that fourth quarter was probably some of Nick's best play calling because we ran the ball a decent amount. We threw the ball down the field, not just these dumb screens. I swear it's Nick Screeniani. I swear.
got you.
Uh, I mean, clearly Carolina knew what we were going to do in the first half. I think that last like 30 seconds of the first half when we got in field goal range, that was one of the best drives. The one where we turned it over on downs because Hertz out through Ertz by like a little bit
Right.
was a good drive because we got down there by running the ball. I mean, how do you have Jalen Hurts, basically a running quarterback, in the first half have 0 rushing yards?
That's a great point.
That's unreal. So I mean, so and then on in this game, he's going to do the same thing, and that's why I'm saying we need to switch it up because we're definitely talking about the Buccaneers defense. But before I get into that, now like you said, Pablo, we need a veteran wide receiver. Would you get Allen Robinson from the Bears to trade for Jalen Rager?
Uh, nah, just because money wise, I don't want to touch that 40 million that we have right now. If
Yeah.
anything, I would rather continue to develop Jalen Rager, at least while he's on his rookie contract. I would dump that money into say like a guy like Devontae Adams or a marquee veteran wide receiver. Again, I was beating on the table for Julio Jones just because he was an Alabama guy. Jalen Hurts is an Alabama guy. Devontae Smith is an Alabama guy. So, you got that Alabama mentality here in Philadelphia. That's what I was thinking that the Eagles should do. But Allen Robinson, he's a good receiver, but he's not a Devontae Adams. Like he's not somebody fourth quarter the Eagles are marching down and I gotta have a touchdown. That's Devontae Adams. So
Odell Beckham.
You
that's a
you'll
good
take
name.
Odell Beckham?
Would you trade for Odell? Because clearly Baker looks like a better quarterback with Odell off the field. So if the Browns see that because everyone else sees it, maybe they want to try to move him.
Got you.
I would
And
take
the other thing, I wouldn't trade for Allen Robinson because he's legit on a 1 year deal, and this is his last year. So I mean, if you trade Jalen Rager for Allen Robinson can play the last 7, 10 games, whatever it is, and then just dip.
Only if he played well. I mean, I would be fine with it, and then we can just go ahead to the draft, of course, pick the best wide receiver, or we can still do it again far as getting another wide receiver, just whoever would come out their contract or whoever we would think is best as far as a veteran wide receiver. Because again, we got three wide receivers where if we're all young, it's just all about Hurts reading it's all about Hurts reading his reads. Because again, just like with the breaking what's his name, breaking the birds, every time when you look at a play, he's always once he frees it, Jalen Hurts is always once he scramble, he's not seeing nothing to the point where again Watkins is always he's always open, or as soon as he say hut, he can just throw the ball. Have these wide receivers run out and catch it. Stop waiting so long to be like, okay, if I think I throw it, he can catch it. Like as soon as you get that ball, just throw it and have him get it. This is what that's why you're a wide receiver. You run out to get the ball.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here. You know, I'm always going to be defensive when it comes to Jalen Hurts because, again, I'm going at Nick Sirianni because in Jalen Hurts' mind, you got to understand one thing that he always says in his press conferences after each game is, "I do what the coaches ask me to do. I do what the coaches coach me to do." So if he's dropping back and he's sitting back there and it's a time route, he has to I mean, because if he goes too early, they're gonna blame it on him. So we gotta understand we don't really get the intel to this as fans, but trust me, Nick Sirianni is telling Jalen Hurts two-step drop back and fire the ball. It's everything is timing. This offense is about timing. It's about timing, and that's why we know subsequently that's why he has success when we speed up because that's what he did at the collegiate level. Comes to the National Football League and still has the same success. So for me, Jalen, it's timing. It's timing. Like I think I don't know if we're sensitive enough to time. And it's weird. Like we're in Philadelphia, and everybody says trust the process. And I don't know if we're really trusting the process when it comes to this offense and this defense because, again, Nick Sirianni has only coached in 5 games. My question is, I almost feel like, even sometimes myself, I'm guilty of it. I feel like we expect the Eagles to get to the Super Bowl. Like, that's not happening, guys. Like, we really need to just say we are a rebuilding team. And I said this in our last video that Mucci and I did. If you guys didn't check that out, make sure you check that out. It was a great show. You know, just because we are rebuilding does not mean we can't be competitive. Just because we are rebuilding doesn't mean we're going to be the Detroit Lions of the NFL. We're going to be the Bengals. Past days, they're looking at this year. For me, it's, you know, when it comes to schematic, when it comes to the scheme, when it comes to timing, all of that, to me, is still going to fall on Nick Sirianni. Because what is he doing to help Jalen?
Mm-hmm.
I, I mean, I'm surprised his arm not is not broke as many times as he threw the ball. Again, just run the ball. Pass, run,
What?
pass,
You
but
just
not
said
no
it,
four
Mooch.
passes.
You just said it. That's how everybody. Come on, Daniel. You know this, bro. To help
Mm-hmm.
your quarterback out. Wait a minute. I'm sorry because black quarterbacks. We just they just throw him in the fire, and he's just supposed to get it right then and there. Let's say this. When you want to help your quarterback have success, what do? You run the
Run the ball.
football.
Yeah.
But black
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, make him throw 50 times. We're just going to see what he does. But again, nobody. Now, isn't it funny that we're talking more about Jalen Hurts as a second-round quarterback, but we're not hearing nothing out of Jacksonville, and that guy Trevor Lawrence is 0-5. We're not hearing nothing out of New York.
Leading the
That
league in
quarterback number
interceptions.
2, he's not winning any ball games. We're not hearing nothing from these other quarterbacks and their progression. But you're hearing more. Jalen Hurts, excuse me, guys, is a second-round pick. He's allowed to have mistakes. But when you are the number 1 pick in the draft overall, and your team is 0-5, and we're not hearing nothing mainstream media, I got a problem with that. So no, It's not a Jalen Hurts problem. It's a Nick Sirianni problem.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say is it was the one at the end of the half for Carolina when he missed Quez down the end of the field. What that was actually broken coverage. The corner was or the safety was supposed to be with Quez, and Ertz was supposed to be open underneath. That's why he was taught to get yards just to get in field goal range. Because he actually said it in his post game press conference.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I hit the guy? I hit Quez. They didn't have no timeouts. I hit Quez. What if he gets caught at like the 5 yard line and there's 1 second left? Then you get no points.
Yeah,
Yep, he
that's a
did
good
say
So
that.
point.
And that's a prime
That's a good
example
point.
of what I was saying earlier. He
He
does what he's
listens.
coached to do.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
He does what he's coached to do. And honestly, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts make that play than Carson Wentz scramble, try to truck a player, run back, shoot a deer, and then throw an interception. Carson Wentz will sit there, hike the ball. He'll try to truck a defensive end. He'll do all of this and throw people. He'll shoot a deer and then throw the interception. I don't
Man, I
have time for
remember
it,
that from the
man.
Baltimore game. Man tried to run over a linebacker, fumbled the ball.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. Well, Richie MC says, "Who's a better leader on D? Is it Fletcher or is it Rodney?"
No, he said, who is the leader on
Y-
defense?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who is? Yeah, I say it's Fletcher Cox.
Uh, I don't think we have a leader, to be quite honest. Because Fletcher Cox, when he was, people gotta
Our leader
understand.
was Brandon Graham.
Yeah, I follow Fletcher. It never, if anything, it was really Brandon Graham. It was really Brandon
Okay.
Graham. Fletcher Cox, his play is that of a leader, but emotionally he's not really a rah-rah guy. He's more of a lead by example. Brandon Graham is your rah-rah guy. You guys remember that video clip where he was Fletcher Cox had to like tell Brandon Graham to shut up. He's like, hey,
Relax,
hey,
relax.
and then Brandon was like, I'm with you, I'm with you. You know what I mean? So Brandon is really that, and Nick Sirianni even said it. He said, man, Brandon Graham is the backbone of this football team. He said that before we even put on pads, right? So for me, it's really Brandon Graham, but I don't get the whole Rodney affair. You know, he's come on, man. Eagles are paying him $1 million this year. He's playing on one leg. That was a horrible miss. That was a horrible miss. And Danny, I know why we talked about this offline and in our past shows where we talked about why the Eagles let go Malcolm Jenkins, and that was a decision they had to make between Malcolm and either Malcolm Jenkins or Darius Slay. But
And
for me,
JPP.
I wish they would have found a way to keep
Pierce.
Malcolm Jenkins on this team
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's intercepting balls with the Saints. I mean, he's looking 5 years younger. And the Eagles, we can't even get the secondary right. Kayvon Wallace is gone. Marcus Epps is a journeyman. Rodney McLeod is on one leg. I mean, it's just bad.
Yeah, and Anthony Harris looks like garbage.
Yeah,
He looks afraid to tackle.
so forgettable.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that like you get all these guys from Minnesota, Eric Wilson. I mean, I had so much hope in. Like I was like, yo, he's the best linebacker. We got the best linebacker, and here it is. He's not tackling, missing tackles. Is it because of the defensive scheme? Like, how's like he knows this coach. Gannon came from Minnesota. So
Hmm.
why is it like listen, like why is he not saying, coach, let's do a 4-3, or what type of defense do Minnesota does? Like what do they do to have him so nice?
Well,
And now that he come over here, he's missing tackles, he's missing like his legs ain't is not like is from under him. Like what do he needs to do? Like me personally, yo, coach, what's up with you? Like you know me. You the one that brung me here, and this is how I'm playing. Like something got to give.
Well, that speaks to, and really is just evidence of the fact that uh, before I say this, I gotta respond to this because everybody keeps saying that Julio Jones was too old, Julio too much tread on the tires. The man is going into the Hall of Fame first and foremost. And if you look at the data suggests Julio Jones is only 33. When a wide receiver like Terrell Owens, like Larry Fitzgerald is around Julio Jones's age, which is like 33 or 34, They have their best run from 33 to 37. Okay, because they know they're about to go in the Hall of Fame, and they're really trying to pack those stats. So if you really look at the stats, Julio Jones is actually in his prime. So football prime is totally different. When you say guys are in their prime, oh, you 27, we're seeing a lot of guys get injured, right? Jair Alexander, some would say he's in his prime. He just got injured, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put out there. Julio Jones would have been a great fit, and I will argue. Don't at me. I will argue anybody that right now, just his mental alone. Julio's mental. You mix Julio with Jalen Hurts and Devontae. Good God, but I done lost
And
my
the
train
same
of
thing
thought.
with Antonio Brown. He's like 32, I believe, and he's
Hmm.
playing unbelievable. That's why I'm scared. Like it will Devontae, I mean, will Slay, will he hold him accountable to, you know what I mean, to stop him from making a touchdown? I mean, we talking about Antonio Brown here.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and not to just to finish my point. What I was saying was is that it's evident that Jonathan Gannon has no idea what the heck he's doing, because when you have guys who have played in your system and they don't even know what's going on, that's a sign that he needs to take a long look at himself in the mirror. He had in his press conference, they said, "Hey, Jonathan, what defense do you run?" Jonathan Gannon tells the media, "Oh, we don't have a defense that we run." So, no, let me get this right. So you come to Philadelphia and you're going to tell a Super Bowl winning champion and Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and all the other guys who played in the Super Bowl, we don't run a defense.
Hmm.
And this is why Fletcher Cox has been expressing lightly, okay, because he is a veteran, he has to keep him out, that his frustrations with this defense. Because he said in his last press conference, we know what plays we're able to get after it on. All right? So for me, man, Jonathan Gannon, Mucci, like you said, Antonio Brown, the matchup against Vontae Maddox is going to be huge. It's going to be huge, man. If the Eagles try to put, I promise you this is going to happen. If we try to put and scheme up, uh, what's my man?
Wilson.
Jannard Avery.
Oh.
I'm so sick of that look defensively where Jannard Avery is two middle linebackers and you got Jannard Avery somehow, some way playing nickel cornerback. In certain packages, he's
Mm-hmm.
playing nickel cornerback. Think about
Mm-hmm.
this. And this is why I said this team, we're rebuilding. We're young because when you got, I don't understand how Jonathan Gannon is looking at the film and saying, "Yup, that's the best matchup that we can do." Jannard Avery on Antonio Brown.
Hmm.
We're
Well,
screwed.
this is the thing. You keep saying rebuilding, right? But it's like if everybody's looking at that screen, and if I'm the head coach, Nick Sirianni, and like they said, like I told you on the last show, Nick Sirianni had gotten their ass. I don't believe he did, because if he did, or we won the game last week because I guess because he got in their ass, but again because of Darius Slay and Nelson for making 3 interceptions. But we was going against North Carolina, we was going against Carolina. Now we're going against Tampa Bay, and we're talking about Tom Brady. Switch the defense up. If Tom Brady already, and we know Tom Brady, he can read his reads really well. I'm talking about he
He
could
mastered it.
look
He mastered. That's an
and
understatement. He's mastered it.
Hmm.
yeah, so and he could look at it and just like a chess move, like and he could switch the play up easy. Just like remember how last year when Ben Roethlisberger he had seen how what's the linebacker that we had? He was 47, number 47. He was trash too.
Nathan Gary.
Yeah, like you remember how he was moving up and then backing up at the last minute. He switched the play up and then he threw it to carpool to make a touchdown. This is what we're going to see tomorrow. This is why I said I am scared because are we going to be 3-3 or are we going to be 2-4? Because it's all about what's going to happen. Because we're talking about Tom Brady, where if he knows that if they're going to play the zone and having 2 linebackers, oh, he's going to have a field day. I'm talking about he's going to be like, all right, that linebacker moved up. Look, switch it, seesaw, seesaw, whatever he say. You know what I mean? And we talking about they're going to run the ball. Like he's going to be confident. He's going to be relaxed. He's going to be, are we going to throw in this play? We're gonna run on this play so I can relax. But then we talking about the Eagles where Hurts is gonna be throwing. He gonna throw like at least last time he was 22 for 37, and we only ran the ball like what almost 3 times. And then we talking about our quarterback having more rushes than our running backs. Like, come on, let's. That's why I kept saying he need to stop being. They need to stop making him being too much Michael Vick and just relax. Because again, he's going to watch. He's not going to read his reads right. Then he's going to scramble. Then we talking about their defense. They're going to try to get at him. I don't want him to keep on throwing the ball out of bounds when he don't need to. Or of course they're going to already know they're going to look for Devontae Smith at the last minute. Devontae Smith, he might have a good game. That's what's up. He's see again. It's still that he's making 120 something yards. Perfect, bravo. But we need to win the game. I'd rather you have 50 yards and just spread the ball. That's one thing that Jalen did last year. He spread the ball out very well amongst the wide receivers. But now, I mean, Devontae Smith is our go-to guy. That's perfect. Um, Watkins when we need him. Rager, it's like I don't know. Sometimes.
So my question, I want to jump in. So how do you expect Jalen not to look at Devontae Smith as the number one target if we all know Jalen Rager is he's not getting open? And then if you answer that question, why is he not getting open? It's because of Nick Sirianni, his scheme. It's all scheme. I said this again, and I'll say it again. I think I said that twice. Nick Sirianni lied. He lied this whole offseason. You guys don't remember? He said, oh, Jalen Rager is going to play the slot. How many times has he been in the slot?
No
And I
clue.
know our analytics guy, Danny, he can tell us probably 0%. He's
I have
been on
no
the
clue.
outs.
Probably
He's been on
5%.
Yeah, 5%. He's been on the outside, right? So he said he was going to run the ball. We're not really running the ball, okay? He's going to scheme this offense up. We're not really scheming it up. So for me, if Jalen Rager can't show up for you, if, again, Quez Watkins, even though he's had flashes, because I think sometimes when a player catches a 50-yard bomb or he, has an 80-yard bomb, we as fans say he's a superstar. Like he's still developing. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have any superstars on this team, so it's like Zach Ertz I don't know what he's doing. I mean, he's begging for a contract extension, but he can't make the crucial catches.
But
Dallas Goedert, I'm not going to be too hard on him. I feel like he's playing the best ball that he possibly can. But for me, Nick Sirianni, he has to get this offense to me. Something is off, and I don't know if it's the wide receivers. I don't know. It could be Jalen. I don't know if it could be the running back room. But when you look at this offense, there's no way you put up close to 500 yards one week, but then you only have 80 yards by the second half the next week. That's weird.
we went up against Kansas City, who's got a really bad defense. And you look at, but the thing is he schemed up a lot of things. Like Rager had like a 12. He got a 12-yard rush on an end around. He ran the quick screens on a no huddle when they're not expecting it. This first half he had in Carolina, we didn't do any no huddle until the last 30 seconds. We punted the ball almost every drive. And when Darius Slay got the interception, we were on the 10-yard line. We didn't run the ball once. So, I mean, that's just play calling.
Well, we need to do better play calling. Like that's simple. I mean, run the
And
ball. Where's Scott? Where's Boston Scott at? Like at least bring him in to do something. Like
Oh, stop it, Mucci Robinson. You know we don't need no Boston Scott.
we got Kenny Gainwell.
Oh, stop this foolishness, Mooch.
One thing I will say
Did
real
you
quick.
just beg for Boston Scott?
meaning, I'm talking about meaning far as running this ball because I don't like you said, all we doing, he's throwing the like you know how many times Hurts is throwing the ball. Like, what's the point of throwing the ball just to do this screen? Like the light passes, like that's just upping his yardage up. When you do a lateral pass, like as soon as you say hut, and then when you
Yeah,
the
it's a
running back
wide
do a
receiver screen.
roundabout,
It's
huh?
a wide receiver screen, and that's that's a
But we
red
don't. What's the
flag.
point of doing it? What I'm saying, it's no point of doing that.
It's a
Just
red
run the
flag.
ball.
It's a red
Hey.
flag of a young head coach.
I told you, Skriniani.
That's a direct red flag of a young head coach only a young head coach would say, "Oh, I had success against Atlanta. I know that we can do this next week against the Chiefs. I know Carolina's not going to prepare for the screen game." Once you do it once, the knows NFL knows what you're doing. So why would you run it 3 weeks in a row? That is Nick Sirianni's inability to come up with great game plans week to week. Because guess what? If we're being honest, maybe we're being too hard on Nick Sirianni. Maybe I'm being too hard on Nick Sirianni.
Not at all. Not at all.
But as Eagles fans, are we giving Nick Sirianni the proper time to really develop as a head coach, or are we sitting here saying that you need to hit the ground running? Because everybody wanted Jalen Hurts to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I mean,
True.
Doug in his first season went 3-0, and then the next 9 games we went like 2-7.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it happens. Every rookie coach goes through their thing. I mean, the only thing I will say is the Charger. I think Brandon Stanley is his name. He's probably gonna be the only one that won't have a rough patch because he basically had a playoff team handed right to him. They were just
Right.
bad coach
Right.
last year.
All right. Well,
Well,
before and go ahead.
You said they were bad coach last year, the LA Chargers. I
Hmm.
just want to jump in and say we do have their quarterback coach from last year. So
Well, no, their their offense wasn't the issue. Their
okay,
defense, and they didn't know how to run clock.
got you. Okay,
Yeah,
So, so here's the thing too, right? So with that being said, with the lateral passes, like I was saying, don't this increase the penalties on the offense? Because every almost not every offensive lineman, but like Diller, like in Driscoll and somebody else, they was going down the field when they need to stay in still. So I don't. This is what I'm saying. You throwing the ball so many times. No, if you're not running the ball enough, and that's another thing. If you run the ball, and we always in the shotgun, the defense already know that Sanders or Gainwell is only going up the gap A or gap B. So it's like they can just clog that up. So that's why I'm saying we need to have um, another formation. I keep saying put the I formation in, and
pistol.
and put Joey Malata as fullback, or use the scroll as the tight end as a fullback, so we can get these extra yards. I mean, again, I just don't know. I don't see how Nick Sirianni, after all the flack, after all the the interviews after the game. I mean, I get it with the winning the game. Once you win the game, you talk different. But when you're losing the game, that's when they say, "Listen, how do you like? Why you're not running the ball?" And it's like my philosophy is to throw the ball to open up. We can open up the defense, or it's like maybe you could tire them out, but if Jalen Hurts ain't seeing clearly, because again, I guarantee you, once I get off this, I'm gonna look at the breaking the birds again and watch he going to stop, freeze, and all that, and show different plays of wide receivers open. Because like you said, he's listening to the coaches doing two-step drop backs, and by the time he do that, he already done miss a throw to a wide receiver. So I mean,
yeah,
that's
I'm
what
glad.
all he need to do. If he does that, if he just sharpened up a little bit. I mean, if you know this already, if I know this, I know he know this because he's looking at film.
Yeah, when you said wide receiver, I was just sitting here really listening to what you were saying. And what if this is the problem? Okay, isn't it funny that when Doug Peterson was a head coach, we got to the Super Bowl. We had success under Doug Peterson, I would say, right? Am I right
Right?
about that?
Hmm.
Of
We
course.
won more than we lost, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But what position did Doug Peterson play when he played at
quarterback.
quarterback in the National Football League?
Hmm.
Nick Sirianni never played in the National Football League. And what position on our team looks all over the place? The wide receivers. What position did Nick Sirianni play?
Wide receiver.
Receiver. So you have a wide receiver background head coach. What can he really? That's why he had to go get Shane from LA. Because he can't really speak to Jalen Hurts as a quarterback coach. You know what I mean? You can call
Oh,
plays.
I got something to say about this.
You could call plays, but this is a wide. See, Nick Sirianni is looking at the game from a wide receiver's perspective. Doug Peterson had great success with no matter who he coached.
Nick Foles, Carson Wentz.
Carson or Nick Foles because he was a quarterback's coach. So what I'm saying is, I believe, and I'll wrap it up. I believe if Nick Sirianni relinquished his play calling roles 100% to the offensive coordinator, this team would have more success. Nick Sirianni is an emotional guy. He is I would say right now, he's a leader amongst men. He seems to be a leader amongst men. It seems that guys are buying into him. I don't know if him calling the plays and being the head coach is the best. When the Philadelphia Eagles had great success, it was under Andy Reid. And what kind of coach was Andy Reid? He was a head coach who had somebody call the offensive plays, who had somebody call the defensive plays. He was just the father of it all. He just made sure that he sort of kept everything in alignment. Having a former Division III wide receiver, he didn't even play D1, guys. Having a former Division III wide receiver as your NFL head coach, come on, man. We got to stop this foolishness. It's foolishness.
I mean, one thing I will say is I think because he was a pass wide receiver, that's why I think he passes the ball so much, is because he was a wide receiver. So when he was a wide receiver, he wanted an air raid. He wanted an air attack. But when you look at the Colts last year, they had 3 running backs that they utilized all 3. And then what he said about Mike Flores, I'm gonna be completely. I mean, none of us knew who Nick Sirianni was until we hired him.
Not
I
one,
mean,
not a clue.
there was two coaches I wanted. I wanted Bieniemy from Kansas City, or I wanted Joe Brady, which is Carolina's OC.
Yes, that's what I wanted too.
Now, with Joe Brady, I mean, you can't blame him for this weekend because Sam Donald.
I
They
like Joe
blamed.
Brady.
I love Joe Brady. I love his design. He made everything seem easy, but Donald just looked like garbage. Our defense plays good against average or bad QBs, but they get toasted by good quarterbacks. We played Dak and we played Pat Mahomes. We got torched. We played Matt Ryan. We played Jimmy G, and we played Sam Darnold. Defense looked good.
Facts. Facts.
So I'm
Follow the data.
expecting I'm expecting this game to kind of go like the Kansas City game. If he, I feel like we're gonna have to play a lot more man coverage because I think Slay and Nelson can kind of lock up their guys. And like you guys were saying, it's gonna be on Avonte Maddox and Antonio Brown. But I also think that they're probably gonna switch around because Maddox does good against slower receivers and tall guys. I mean, look what he did against Pitts. I mean, he looked pretty damn good against Pitts in the Atlanta game. And Slay could definitely lock up, I think, AB.
I mean,
I should say
hopefully.
definitely, but I really do think he could.
Gotcha. Well, then let me ask y'all this then. I know it's hurt season, but do you think if Joe Flacco was to come in,
No,
would he make a
no,
difference?
Please,
no,
Mucci.
no,
Mucci, what
I'm
are
just
you
asking.
no,
drinking tonight, man?
no, no,
I'm only asking. I'm
no.
only saying this
Man, let
because
me call
I don't
Scepter,
care
man.
how. I don't care. I don't care how bad we
I'm gonna
look.
call Scepter. Let them. They got their best driver is check under that engine seat because he got something down there.
I'm only saying that
And
only because of the reads. That's all I'm saying. I'm
no,
only saying it because of the reads.
I wouldn't even bring in Flacco. But like the thing is, this year is all about Jalen Hurts. Whether we can find out if he can be the franchise quarterback, which I definitely believe he could. And it's all about what can he be. Now, it doesn't help when you're having basically a rookie quarterback dropping back 40, 50 times a game. He has almost as many pass attempts as Josh Allen.
And
Josh
Josh
Allen's a
Allen
top 5
has
quarterback.
Yeah, yeah.
Josh Allen has ballers around him.
Yeah,
Stephon Diggs,
I mean,
superstar.
look at Dak. Look at Mahomes. They're not throwing the ball a ton. Most of their team is running the ball. Cowboys are like second in the league in rushing yards with like 170 a game.
But I wouldn't mind having that though too. Like we just
No, I would be loving that because guess what? You basically make Hurts a game manager and you make him learn the game. Use
right.
Hurts' leg for a reason. Hurts doesn't have the arm talent right now. He doesn't have the arm accuracy, the arm talent. He's a young guy who's still learning. I mean, listen, he has 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. One thing I will say, he's not putting the ball in harm's way a ton,
That
Like
what can
Zach
I say
Wilson.
something really
Oh
quick?
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
That's arm talent. When
Hmm.
you don't put the ball in
No,
harm's
that's
way,
that's smart too.
yeah, but that's arm talent.
Hmm.
These things work together. Move to the right. Your brain has to tell your arm
Well,
what to
yeah.
do. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
I'm trying to say like he's not the most accurate person. Neither was Lamar. But what did they do with Lamar? Lamar had 1,000 yard rushing year. Now I'm not saying I want Jalen to do that, but we got Miles Sanders, who's arguably a top 10 back when you give him the ball. You got Kenny Gainwell, who's a great receiving back, and then you have Jalen Rager, who reminds me a lot of Debo Samuel in San Francisco, the way he runs like a running back. But the thing is, I've also with Jalen Rager on the topic, it's not his fault that he was drafted in the first round because I really don't think he was a first round talent. I think he was more second or third round. But it's not his fault because he was taken in the
Yeah,
first round and he was overhyped. It's not his fault.
it's Howie Roseman's fault.
Yeah, that's Howie
Exactly.
Roseman fault. Cause I was about to say, yeah, because
Yeah,
we didn't know who he was. We was just, you know what I mean, so focused on getting somebody. Who was we on looking
Justin
at? We was,
Jefferson.
I wanted
yeah,
Justin Jefferson. I wanted JJ. Now the thing is Justin Jefferson would not have looked as good as he did in Minnesota.
Scheme.
Right. Scheme, we looked like terrible last year. Any wide receiver will look terrible in that scheme last year. All it was vertical routes. Go run, we're gonna beat you deep. But we didn't.
Honestly, Danny, I would take straight vertical routes than all screen routes right about
Oh
now.
well, yeah. I mean, that's what I would take, especially when you got a guy like Devontae, where I
And
know he's gonna
Quez,
get open. And Quez too. That was the other thing. Last game, Quez Watkins had more reps than Jalen Rager in the game.
the last
yeah.
game,
The
Yeah,
last game, right? Yeah,
yeah, Quez had like 70% or like 80%, and Rager had like 70 or 60%.
yeah, Jalen Rager needs to be in the slot. I don't understand why it's not Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, and Jalen Rager. I
Hmm.
don't understand why we continue to put him on the outside. He's
I
not ready for that
I
yet.
still don't understand how. I don't know. It's kind of funny that Fulgham got released off the practice squad exactly a year after that Steeler game where he had 10 catches for 150 yards.
well, where do you think he's gonna go?
He already signed with Miami. He's on Miami's practice squad.
That's crazy. And then he's gonna be great over there. I promise you.
Oh, I
That-
think I think it was a mistake because what's the other thing we don't have? We don't have a big receiver. Now we have JJ, but I don't think JJ is good either.
I
I
think
think
he's
he's
only
our
good in
number
the
one.
red zone.
I don't even think he's good there because if he was, we'd be using him. We don't use him,
The-
period. Except, bro, just make JJ a tight end already because that's all he's good at is
180.
blocking.
No, but we waiting for the guy. What's his name? Trey. What's the
The
he broke.
quarterback. You talking about the quarterback, the 6'7" Mucci.
Are you,
Leave it
bro? Are
alone.
you okay? Are you
Stop
okay?
this
Are you talking
foolishness,
about
man.
Minshew, bro? Hold up. What would happen if we put Minshew in? Honestly, what would happen?
No, 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 no,
There's no
no,
point
no,
in
no, no.
having
I'm saying I'm talking
Hurts
about
anymore.
you. He
Go for
said
it.
turn him into a tight end. I'm saying
Oh, I've been
who was
saying.
the wide receiver? Who was the tight end that we got from He used to be a quarterback, but they turned him into a tight end. He came from the Bills.
Yeah, I forget
I
what
don't
his
know,
name
but
was.
he should be coming back soon. It's been 9 weeks since he got hurt.
Didn't he break his back?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
had
that's what I'm
broke his
saying.
vertebrae, but
So
his
what are we
his
expecting from
timeline.
this guy with a broken
No,
back?
but his timeline is it was 8 to 10 weeks, and it's been 9 weeks since he got hurt.
I like that name. What you guys think about what Richie MC just said?
Oh, I'd
Michael
love Michael
Thomas is an X
Thomas.
factor.
I'd love Michael Thomas because Michael Thomas is that guy. He's a big receiver. He can get open underneath, and he's a great route runner.
So it's what we trading for Jalen Rager, or you saying we just
Oh
grab him?
no,
No, he's a little bit too old for me. He's a little longer than two for Jalen Rager.
I don't think we trade Rager at all because they don't need receivers. Honestly, I would just trade like second and a fourth for Michael
Or
Thomas.
I would
how does it?
trade.
They probably wouldn't even take that. They wouldn't take that.
Well,
They
I
would
mean,
take.
like you'd offer that and you have conversations. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, you need a tackle? You take Dillard. We don't need him. Move my Lotta back to the left side because he looked not
Thank
that
you.
great on the right side.
He's not at
And
all.
if
Not at
and if
all. Only
if
because Lane Johnson's out.
And
Yeah,
if Dillard cannot play anything but left tackle, then sit him
I'm
on the sideline.
yeah, I'm glad you said that, Daniel, because Mooch, you and I was talking about this offline in the last show too. I just thought that was the dumbest move that this Eagles team could possibly make. You
Hmm.
know, you just pay this guy all of a bunch of money, and then you uproot him from the spot that he won. Like if I beat him out, you make him go over there and play. So you
Hmm.
don't make me go over there and play. You
Hmm.
know,
Or I guess they thought he was ambidextrous.
I mean, he's good, but like he went up against a speed rusher. I mean, I still remember that too. I'll show you guys this later. If you look at that 2 point conversion, Mylata and Dillard both lined up on the left side because it looked like someone forgot to go to the right. That's why Hurts got instant pressure.
dumb as hell.
Got you. Yeah, but the same,
It's kind
but
of funny
when
Big son.
Manada was on the right hand side, the ball Riddick was able to come in 2 times
because
and
Reddick's a
tag it.
speed person and Mylata's
Yeah,
not the best. He's still learning, but he's not used to coming out and going to the right. He's used to coming out, going to the left, protecting his blind side. When Jalen Hurts loves running out to his right, Mylata's expecting him to come out the opposite way of him, not towards him.
right. Well,
Yeah,
what
to
about
me,
Clark, the guard? Now, is he still on the practice squad, or did they upgrade him?
I
he's
don't
on the
know.
53.
I don't know.
He's on the
I
53
would
man roster.
just, I
See, I
would
would
just,
rather. I want to see what he can do, though. I'd rather have him than Dillard. And then we
I'm,
got somebody else from the Bills too. I just don't. I forgot his
Oh
name,
no
but
no no
he.
no! It's a tight end, and this kid, he may actually have a big week. Noah, he's out of not what's the Oregon team? Not the green, not the
is it
orange
Oregon
team.
State, like the
Oregon
Beavers or
State, yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
yeah,
is?
Oregon State, where Des Bryant, where he played
Yeah.
ball at. Noah, he's a solid tight end.
Hmm.
So Mucci, I know you're waiting on that quarterback convert, tight end to come back from his injury, but make sure you keep your eyes out on. I forget what his first name is. It's like a Hawaiian name. It's hard to pronounce,
Yeah.
but watch out for Noah, bruh. This guy is good. He
But
is
like,
good.
if I had to pick the starting,
Appreciate it, Richard.
uh, the starting O line, I would have Mylata. Uh, uh, what's his? What's who do we draft in the
Landon
second round this
Dickerson.
year? Yeah, Dickerson. So Mylata, Dickerson, Kelsey. I would have Herbert and Howard Driscoll. That's who the starting offensive line
Oh
should be.
yeah.
Why
Okay.
did
That
why do is he
I
hurt? Is
don't
Driscoll hurt?
know because
No, he
Driscoll
was in.
started at right guard and Herbert's fine. So I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I would agree.
Howie's probably going like, hey, we you need to start Dillard. We need his value to go up so we could trade him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind
Yeah,
of
but he's failing every time. He's giving us the more penalties.
he's
So
So
one
can I ask you guys a
oh,
question? And this is what I don't understand about Philadelphia, especially the media. If like, cause there are some times where the media they'll come out and they will crush guys, right? They'll talk about these players and really just take their trade stock down. If Howie Roseman really did that, couldn't he just say, ask the reporters, sort of talk him up a little bit in articles, and then we'll sort of get him out there. My thing is, it's counterproductive. I don't know, like to say, hey, put him out there when all your reporters are going to do is trash him.
I
Oh,
mean,
here's a
with that,
first round
you already know
bust.
that's their job. I mean, they're gonna do that regardless.
Man,
mm,
if I'm Jeff Lurie and I got $1 billion and this is my team, I'm going to control. You got to think about it, man. I'm gonna control the narrative because at the end of the day, these players they be looking at these media person like, what are y'all talking about? Like, what kind of questions are you asking? Like, it causes confusion in a locker room.
Well,
It's
that's the
weird,
same thing
man.
with Jerry Jones. That's why that's like exactly what Jerry Jones do. He makes so much bread that he does. He he's in charge of the
um,
narrative. He makes sure that you say the right things, or you out the door.
I,
You know
s-
what I'm saying?
I
So
s- I swear, Howie's got to have something on Jeffrey Lurie in order for him to be around this long. Got some dirty pictures or something like that, man.
now
I
they
don't
best
know.
friends. I'm trying to tell you, that's it.
No,
They just
like
best
there's got to
friends.
be something more. There's got to be something more. There's
No, they
no
be in
way.
Miami on the
But
yachts, drinking and all that, in
but it's
Florida
also
and all that.
but like
Can I
I
ask you
don't.
guys a quick
Oh
question?
my bad.
Because I know we probably think I know that Jalen Hurts is the franchise quarterback. Speaking of Howie Roseman, Does he make it after this year? To you guys, for me, I'm gonna say no, only because I don't. So when you look at Jalen Hurts, you got to project Jalen Hurts out. You got to project him with a bona fide wide receiver, a Michael Thomas, like we were talking about, a Devontae Adams, and project his production from that offense. For me, I don't I don't know if I trust Howie Roseman to make those picks, man. Those
I
are two high picks, three high picks. Right now, if the Eagles were to draft today, the Eagles would
three
have
top
the
10.
third, sixth, and the eighth pick, I believe. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
like
if I
three
trust
top
Howie
10.
Roseman to bring in the next the generation of Eagle players, man. What do you guys think?
One thing I will say is Howie. One of the best deals Howie's made in recent years was probably getting that Miami pick.
For sure.
Was probably it's the things like that that keeps Howie around.
Oh
But
yeah,
He
yeah.
the
can get
thing
the pick. He
is
can't make the pick.
that well yeah one thing if you want to keep Howie, one thing he's always great at is maneuvering, always finding some way to get money, maneuvering the cap. If you want to keep Howie to do that, and then you hire another guy that just strictly does drafting, I'll be okay with that.
Need to hire me, but you know.
Then
But
you
look,
hire
we
all of us.
yeah. How about that? But guys, we at the 1 hour mark. So before we end this, please like, share, subscribe. But on
Oh,
top of that,
score prediction.
please tell me your prediction for tomorrow night's game.
Tomorrow night I'm going Kansas City.
We're facing Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Wow. My goodness, I'm still a little dizzy from that whooping they put on us. Had Tyreek Hill doing backflips in the end zone. Good night. I'm going Tampa Bay 30, Philadelphia Eagles 17.
Danny.
I got Tampa Bay 30, Philly 24.
uh
Mucci, don't say nothing off the wall, Mucci.
No, I'm gonna make it logical. I mean, I'm gonna just say, I'll say 33-21 Tampa Bay. I mean, I'm
Hey,
just
I like that.
hey,
I
I
like
was
that.
right. I was almost right last week.
Yeah.
I said
yeah.
we'd win by 3, and we won by 3.
All right, put your
Yes, you
bets up,
did
man.
say
I'm
that.
I'm I'm, I'm betting a penny. What's up, man? Who got
I'm,
who's matching
I'm,
your
I'm,
penny?
hey man, I'm betting we cover the 7 point. Tampa
I'm
Bay is a
sorry,
seven
Richie. We
point.
we just telling the
No,
truth.
I'm not a
We're
hater.
Eagles. We're
Listen,
Eagles fans.
I'm not, I'm
I'm
not
trying.
saying, I'm not. Listen, no, I'm not a hater.
Tell him,
Listen,
Daniel.
listen,
Look,
I'm
he
not a
says
hater.
trio haters.
No, I'm not a hater. One thing
Hey,
I
I
will
like that
say
name, man. We got to
is
get a shirt, Trio Haters, man.
it all depends on three people. It depends on Jonathan Gannon. It depends on Sirianni. And it depends on Jalen
34,
Hurts
27.
because I'm not gonna say like this. The game plan that first half was just atrocious. Sirianni just throw that first half away. Don't even look at it. You just burn it. Burn the tape. You never want to look at that.
Burn it.
Burn it. Just never look at it. You want to look at something? Look at that fourth quarter. That fourth quarter. If we could play that fourth quarter between defense, offense, special teams, we'll win the game. We'll win the game 31-30.
All right, I'll tell you this, Richie. If we win this game, you're going to be on our show this Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be 34-27, but if the Eagles win, you're going to be on this show on Sunday. I put it
Now,
like
Absolutely.
that.
I have one thing to say to everyone. Should I start Tom Brady on my fantasy team? Should I
Loyalty.
start? Should I start Kyler or should I start Tom Brady?
I'm starting Kyler. That boy's playing lights out.
Mhm.
Kyler,
Got you. All right. Well, look, please
All
like,
right.
share, and subscribe. Mucci Robinson, my guy Pablo Gary. Please make sure you go to his channel, like, share, and subscribe. Put them notification bells on.
Yes, sir.
Danny, soon he'll be having his page coming up, but until then, he's gonna be rocking with us. This is the Eagle Mafia. This is Eagles Nation Sports Media. Until then, we can't wait till tomorrow. So hopefully we do win the Eagles, but until then, we out.
we still flying Richie MC.